Let's go to Scooby in San Francisco. Hi, Scoop. What are you doing? We would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you sniveling kids.
Guys, man. Hey, love you guys, man. Appreciate that you guys took my call. I wanted to talk about Brock.
Let's go. Let's go, Scooby.
Brock?
All right, listen. Now, when he came into that game against Miami, now, we didn't know who he was. We didn't even know Brock was on the team. Now, 50% may say that, 50 other percent may say that, whatever, okay? But when he came into that game and they went up and they scored and they did what they had to do, Brock made me believe that he could take this team and go to the Super Bowl and win. Brock came into that season and said, this is my season. This is what I have to do. I'm Mr. Irrelevant, whatever, so forth, whatever. He came in and he took over that team. He was better than Jimmy. He was better than Trey. And Kyle knew that. And I felt like Kyle held him in the back pocket just in case. But at the end of the day, I believe in this guy. I wholeheartedly believe that Brock Purdy can lead us to this 6th Super Bowl. And the reason why I say that is Kyle has his guy who can control the offense, who can... Kyle has a fourth eye on the field. He can look and see and believe. He can make the right passes. He can, if he got to throw to Christian, who can bust for 20 yards down the field, whatever the situation may be. He can do that. I really believe that Brock can lead us to that 6th Super Bowl.
Scooby, you know what you just said, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for...
That's a great take, Scoob. Sorry, that's my Shaggy.
I got it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's actually a good impression because I got it without you having to explain it.
Okay.
And it's the first
For
impression.
the audience, yeah.
It's the first impression you've done in about 5 weeks that doesn't sound like Kyle Shanahan.
You're a hater. Well, I would like to have a Scooby snack and stuff. I'm a little bit hungry. The Mystery Machine is a little cloudy in there and stuff.
Kyle, there's nasally Kyle, and then there's right, which is just like Tiger sped up.
It's Scooby.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, do you know? Here's one thing I get at with this, and I know how a lot of you process this. You think I'm just like, oh my gosh, Brock's going to be the greatest thing in the history of ever. I don't know. I don't know where this is going, but I know where we've been. And the one thing that gets me is when people start characterizing Brock, they'll tell you all the things that he did, and they'll be like, so, you know what he's able to do? He's able to run Kyle's offense. And he's able to be controlled by Kyle.
He's a control freak.
And he's able to get the ball to the good players. He's able to not turn it over. You hear all these things, and I hear you. You are closet criticizers. You're just using different words of saying Brock's not very good.
He's a game manager, Mark.
But the problem is every time you go through all of these things, these characteristics, do you know what those characteristics are? Those are the characteristics of a good football player.
A winning quarterback.
Thank you. Like when people go, oh, Brock can get the ball from here to there, but he doesn't have skills. Well, what is getting the ball from here to there? It's a skill. Not turning the ball over, knowing where to go, delivering it accurately, delivering it on time. That's quarterbacking. Even the really good ones have to do that. You think Mahomes is such an ad-libber that he's just like, watch this, Andy. I know you called that, but we're going to do this. I'm going to do the snap-a-doodle-ding-dong and run around in circles, turn my back, and then I'm going to fly over to the right and do an underhand scoop shot to Travis Kelce, and we're going to score. Yeah, he can do that, but that's not what he's trying to do, and 98% of the time he doesn't do that. He drops back, and he tries to deliver the ball on time, accurately, to an open receiver.
And he did that last night, but the open receiver dropped it time and time again.
Correct. That's quarterbacking. So when I get bugged is not when you say you don't think Brock's going to be him. He might not be. I don't know if he's great. I don't even know if he's really good. Here's what I know. He is skilled. That's already proven. He has some quarterback skills, no matter what round he was taken in.
Well, all these guys do. Every quarterback
Not
in the
all of
league
them.
has quarterback skills.
Not
Otherwise, they wouldn't be quarterbacking.
Not all the 2s and 3s, which is how a lot of people still view Brock.
Well, I would say all the 2s and 3s have quarterback skills.
Well,
now, are they good enough to be QB1 for a team that goes deep into the playoffs? You don't know that. And that's where I push back at your point. And I don't think people are demeaning Brock as much as they are celebrating the Kyle Shanahan scheme, because Brock Purdy came in, and yes, he made the throws that were there. He made the plays that weren't there, and he won games. And they averaged 30 points a game when he was the quarterback, and they won every game except for the one that they didn't win, and that was because his arm fell off, and he was no longer able to be quarterback. Brock Purdy is the dude. He can get this done. He can run the offense. He can make the throws that need to be made. Can he win the big game? Well, if the answer is no, it doesn't mean that it's all on him. And if the answer is yes, it doesn't mean that it's all because of him.
Right. So it's shared.
It's always shared.
I don't always hear that.
Right.
I hear Kyle, system, good teammates. Okay, you lucky jerk. You
Right.
ended up in the
Well,
right
you
spot.
can put it
I
in
hear
whatever order you want to hear it, but
I'm not even saying from you. I hear a
Yeah.
lot of people who think Brock is a complete production of his surroundings. And I don't believe in that.
I think that's unfair to say that he's a complete production of his surroundings, but I do think that Brock Purdy is in the spot that he's in part, maybe large part, a significant part because of Kyle Shanahan and all the other players that are around him and the situation that he has happened to land in. He got a chance to sit and watch for 2 or 3 months. He got to play on the scout team against the best defense in football, one of the best defenses. He got to cut his teeth and really get better in that way.
Yeah.
And when he got his chance, he knew the playbook and he was able to get it done. And so that's why he is where he is.
I do love that we are now crediting for people that they did get to sit and watch for 2 months.
For sure.
Yeah. I know another quarterback recently with the 49ers where.
Well, he absolutely benefited from that.
Nobody wanted to talk about that. They wanted to say he's never played.
No, but he
Never played.
He absolutely benefited by sitting and watching Trey Lance.
Everybody does. Everybody
Right.
does. But nobody wanted to enter that into the conversation then.
Well, when Trey Lance got a chance to show what he could do, he didn't really get the fair shake because the first game that he played was in a monsoon, and then Kyle ran him into the ground. So he didn't really get the same chance that Brock Purdy got.
Let's not fall off that truck. But that also wasn't his first chance. He had started 2 games already in
Yeah,
the league.
and he looked good. Previous year, he won a game, won a big game,
Lost the one before that.
won a game that led them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Without that win, they don't go to the playoffs.
Right. Remember what the score was at halftime?
They were down.
Yeah. Remember how good the team was they were playing?
They weren't great.
Worst team in the league.
Remember what the score was when the game was over?
Yeah. It was
They won.
Ho-hum win over the worst team in the league.
He gets the win.
Yes,
You
he
can't
does.
take that away from him.
I'm
Try
not.
as you might.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying. I am.
You're all but snatching it right out of his bosom.
I'm doing what I have said
Bosom.
all along. I don't think he's very good. And you can just.
no, I've said that too.
You can all
I said it on this very air.
We don't need to. We don't need to spend
We don't
any
need to
time on this.
exhume the Trey Lance corpse.
We do not. Dre in Lemoore is next up on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Dre, what are you doing? What's up?
I'm just being cool as usual. Right now, you guys remind me a lot of the old song by Mr. Mason. I think it was Mark Mason. There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. You and me, and we just disagree.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Dre. I love your point, but I would say we're going to need your cell phone to sound better real soon.
Okay. How's that?
That's better.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Listen. Mr. Brock Purdy, every game he started and finished, he won. When he came in and played all those games that he played, he had one thing that Garoppolo never showed me is hitting your receiver in stride at a high percentage of time. I'd say 80% of the time, he hits the receiver in stride. And if he's not all that good, why are his teammates voting him the captain of the team? I dare to say, may the Lord not strike me down for putting him in the same category as Dak Prescott. But if he was the quarterback for Dallas right now, he would be doing a better job than Dak Prescott. He is not a system quarterback. He is a man who's got guts, he's got moxie, he's self-confident, and he knows how to throw the ball. And one more time, he knows how to hit the receiver in stride for yak yards.
Dre, thank you very much. I hope everything that you're saying ends up to be the consistent truth. I see the same thing as of right now. I don't have any issue if somebody is not convinced, though. Dre is very convinced. Others are not. I think all opinions on that are totally fair. I guess what I've sort of started to lock in on is why this is what's sort of, it feels to me hypocritical, Dibs, because we've spent a big part of our offseason, and you know all the opinions, even where the show went yesterday, all the opinions about Kyle Shanahan. And somewhere tucked in there is all the, whether it's win or else, or he's overrated. Yet, some of the same people who say that will also say Brock's a production of Kyle, which feels to me like you're saying that Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in the history of the NFL. Because I do wonder if you would all acknowledge that. If you're saying that Brock Purdy can go 8-0, but he's not very good, and Jimmy Garoppolo can go to multiple NFC title games, and he's not very good. If that's all true, then you are also, in my opinion, saying that Kyle Shanahan is the greatest coach who has ever walked an NFL sideline, because he would be the first who can consistently win in the league with a bad quarterback. He would be the first. That has never, ever, ever happened before on a consistent basis for 6 or 7 years, where a coach wins and contends toward the end with crap at quarterback. It's never happened before.
A couple things about that.
Okay.
One, Brock Purdy 7-1, and I'm going to make sure that I'm always going to be the one to stand behind the reality of what his record is.
Well, if
Two,
you want to play exact words as opposed to what actually happened.
I get it.
He won the Miami game.
Sure.
So,
and he lost
whatever.
the Philadelphia game, which is, it's just
Then
unfortunate.
let's agree and make him 8-1. How about that?
Well, he doesn't get credit for Miami, unfortunately.
Well, then he doesn't lose credit for Philly, but go ahead.
The second piece of it is the idea of a coach. There's more to it than just being able to get your quarterback to run the plays that you devise on your play sheet and run them very well. Being a coach is a lot more nuanced than that. So you can make Brock Purdy a good quarterback, and you can make Jimmy Garoppolo look good. And heck, you can make Trey Lance be able to flash in the few games that he actually played and still not be the greatest coach of all time, because there's more to it than being just an offensive play caller or an offensive coordinator. There's game management. There is play calls at the right time. There's being able to close out big games. And these are things that Kyle Shanahan hasn't done yet. So
What's the comp?
The comp for Kyle Shanahan?
A coach who has consistently won in the league without having a good QB.
Well, I don't think that he's consistently won. Like Marty Schottenheimer would be a guy.
Great quarterbs. Future
Throughout,
Hall of Famer.
throughout the course of Stan Humphrey and
okay, that was 1 year.
yeah,
But Phillip Rivers was his quarterback
for a couple years, and then he got fired.
Right, because they would go 14-2 and not get very far. But he had he had a future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right. I mean, you could look at many coaches who have had the level of success, quote unquote, as Kyle Shanahan, and he's had success, but he hasn't won the big game yet.
Right, but I mean, he's only been the 49er coach for what, like 6, 7 years,
yeah.
right? Okay,
and he's done well.
And he's done pretty well.
He's done very well.
Okay.
But he hasn't yet gotten to the point where he is a Super Bowl champion.
Right, but what's the comp for we win most of our games, we go to the playoffs most years We, in fact, go deep in the playoffs
Right.
half the time.
I think Dallas would be a good comp.
But we never had a good quarterback.
Dallas would be a great comp.
Tony Romo and Dak Prescott aren't good quarterbacks.
Tony Romo was mediocre. I mean, Tony Romo is a guy who flashed for a couple of years. And, I mean, Tony Romo now is a pitch man. So we think a lot differently about Tony Romo than we do. If Tony Romo never became a broadcaster, nobody would ever even think about or remember Tony Romo as a quarterback.
If statistically Brock Purdy becomes Tony Romo or Dak Prescott, the Niners are going to win every year.
Right, win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and those are good quarterbacks. They're not the best.
Yesterday you said you'd rather have Brock Purdy than Dak Prescott.
I would. But that's my belief in
that
Brock.
to me is the comp in terms of
but this
like
was
Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy.
This was a coaching question.
Right.
I don't
and
know.
And the Garrett couldn't do it. And now McCarthy hasn't done it with the same level of quarterback as Brock Purdy.
But again, now you're making it only about the Super Bowl. Those have been good teams
right.
for year in and year out.